All right, so we're back. I don't know if I'm having a weird dream or anything, but I was in my last game for DPL. I get pulled out for this CDEC versus Wings Gaming. I don't even know if this is a best of 3 or anything. I was just told to stop what you're doing, cover this, and you know what? I'm down for it. It is now 6:12 in the morning, and let's get underway with even more Dota. Wings Gaming CDEC, we get right on into the draft. Slardar, Batrider, Naga, Invoker banned out by CDEC. Wings, they've banned out Magnus, Monkey King, Lena, and OD. For both teams, CDEC, they picked up Centaur and Ricky, and then Wings Gaming, they've picked up Crystal Maiden, Tusk, and Abaddon. And we were just watching Vici play Tusk, Crystal Maiden, Abaddon, and it was going pretty well for him. And, you know, we'll see if Wings Gaming can kind of replicate that success. So take a look over at CDEC. Weaver's going to be picked up next for him. And we'll have to see, is that a 4 Weaver or is that a safe lane Weaver for CDEC? So, Centaur, Ricky, Weaver, Crystal Maiden, Tusk, Abaddon. It looks okay right now in terms of a draft for CDEC. You're going to get that Blink, Hoof Stomp, and then Weaver. If it is a safe lane Weaver, he's going to start hitting hard early. And once he gets that Desolator, he'll really start to demolish Tusk and Crystal Maiden. And let's see what else they think they're going to throw their way. So, get into these 4th picks for both teams. Crystal Maiden, Tusk, Abaddon. So offlane Abaddon and 5-position Crystal Maiden, 4-position Tusk. They still need a mid and a safe laner for Wings Gaming. Oh, and we'll see what they want to go for in both these aspects. Mid, they're going to go with a Shadow Fiend. So Shadow Fiend, Abaddon, Tusk, Crystal Maiden. To me, they kind of seem a bit lacking in the stun department. Of course, you've got Snowball and Frostbite, but I think they do need one more. And possibly we see a Sven come out for Wings last. For CDEC, Lifestealer is still on the board if this Weaver is not going to be in the safe lane. But, you know, mid up against the Shadow Fiend, maybe they want to go with a Storm Spirit. Or possibly even a lone druid. I can't really think much about what they're going to pick up, but CDEC, they actually go for the Winter Wyvern. So, interesting pickup from CDEC. Winter Wyvern, Weaver, Ricky, Centaur, Warrunner. And we go into these last bans with CDEC needing a mid and Wings Gaming needing a safe laner.
5 seconds remaining.
So we'll go into these last bans real quick from both sides. Tinker gets banned out. Don't really want to be up against that. You want your Shadow Fiend to really be hitting hard onto CDEC. And then let's see what CDEC ban out last, and it will be that Juggernaut. So no Jug, no Tinker. They're looking for a mid on CDEC. Could see them going for that Ember Spirit. Gives them a bit more lockdown with the Searing Chains, as well as the Sleight of Fist doing quite a bit of damage towards Wings Gaming. And he does all right against Shadow Fiend. They can get that nuke damage, which would be nice against the Shadow Fiend with the Ember Spirit coming with the Remnants.
5 seconds remaining.
So We'll have to see what they do there for CDEC. I like the Ember Spirit call. I like Ember or Storm Spirit. And then for Wings Gaming, safe lane, possibly a Sven. We'll have to see. They have 55 seconds, and as for now, we take a look at what CDEC have. They have a safe laner, Weaver, off lane Centaur, need a mid. Ricky going to be that roaming 4, Winter Wyvern in the 5 spot. For Wings Gaming, Shadow Fiend mid, Abaddon off lane, Crystal Maiden and Tusk kind of being the roaming support duo. And they do quite well at it. So, CDEC, 13 seconds left. Let's see if they go with either Ember or Storm. And there it is. There's the Ember. I do like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. I feel good about myself when I get a guess right. And so now, Wings, all they have to do is pick up a Sven, and I'll be okay.
Remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Well, they end up going with the Spectre, so. Spectre picked up. Spectre, Shadow Fiend, Abaddon, Tusk, Crystal Maiden. A lot of mobility for Wings in Spectre. For CDEC, they're going to be fast. Stampede, Shikuchi, Remnants, their mobility much better than Wings. And I like Ember over Shadow Fiend mid. Weaver, who's going to be up against Abaddon. Maybe Abaddon, Crystal Maiden, and Tusk. And then we'll see Spectre maybe by herself up against Centaur. And maybe Ricky and Winter Wyvern. And luckily, I don't have an overlay for this right now, so I'm not going to screw that up. And we'll get ready and go into game 1 of this best of 3.
Prepare for battle.
So, flyby on the Weaver, we take a look over. Ricky is going to be played by June. Over on the Centaur Warrunner is going to be Sep. Inflame on the Ember, and then Demons finally on the Winter Wyvern. We take a look over at Ice Ice on the Tusk. Blink on the Shadow Fiend. Over on the Spectre is Shadow. Faith Beyond on that Abaddon once again tonight. And Y on the Crystal Maiden again tonight. So, hoping for, if you watch regular time. Regular show. Sorry, mixing up my shows. Regular show. We're looking for a jolly good show. You like that accent? Do anything for you guys? No? Cool.
30 seconds to battle.
So Zyclops is not here right now. Everybody be prepared to riot as they picked me up last minute at 6:30 in the morning. I'm ready, I think. I'm ready to see Wings and CDEC duke it out in this best of 3. So let's see what they do.
The battle begins.
So Flyby is going to be up top. Let's see if he's joined by any of these supports. For now, Demon's just going to block this creep wave up. And June is here too. So it does look as though Demon's is gonna head up top. Maybe June heads up there as well, but June would be in a safe spot with Sep in the off lane. We take a look over mid as Ice Ice is here on the Tusk with Blink, so maybe looking for a nice snowball. And then we take a look at the off lane. It's Faith Beyond who's going to be up against that Weaver. And down low, Shadow and... where are you? Y up against Sep, so... I don't think Sep should really have any trouble in this offlane staying alive. We take a look over mid. June is here with Inflame, and Demons has actually come on back. So maybe a possible Arctic burn coming their way to slow them down and get a kill early on Blink. But we'll have to see. I don't really like the odds with Inflame level 1. But you never quite know. And he will come over with the Arctic burn just to harass Blink out. Give Blink a tough time, make things difficult for him, puts him at about half health. And, you know, all things considered, it's really not doing too much to him. The Arctic burn, that's going to be down for quite some time, down for over 30 seconds. Now we take a look over at Y, where now they've got the dust as well as the ice shards, but no frostbite to stop June from getting out, so it's dust wasted as June does TP back to base. Picks himself up some wards, and he'll be okay. Dust wasted. Strategic. TP out. So, Ice here with Shadow. Maybe see something happen when Y hits level 2. Because Sep could be very susceptible if all 3 of these heroes go out on him. And that's exactly what they're looking to do with Ice and the Ice Shards, as well as the Frostbite. There it is. They get 2. There's the Hoof Stomp out on Tusk. But Ice will eat it up, and really they're just trying to send back Sep. Get Shadow some open space to farm up. And you need a lot of time for this Spectre to really get anything done, which to me is a bit scary, because Inflame mid-game does pretty well, and so does this Weaver. And once Centaur gets a blink, they'll be able to get in the face of this Spectre. So they really need to be careful on Wings Gaming with Spectre, and possibly finding themselves falling behind early to CDEC. So coming over with the haste is the Winter Wyvern, has that Arctic burn, and Flyby not going to move forward on Faith Beyond just yet. They'll get the slow out on Faith Beyond. No Shikuchi forward. Well, he does have the Geminate attack to go out on Faith Beyond, but they choose otherwise, and they let him kind of just back up and farm. So they get the Hoof Stomp out on Shadow, and now Sep's going to have to actually back off as the Spectral Dagger is thrown forward at him, and he gets pretty low, down to 150 health. So again, I'll reiterate the point. Early mid-game is going to be okay for Wings. If they can stomp out a good enough lead, the late game will come even later, opening them up a spot to really win this game. But if they don't do well enough with this early and mid-game advantage that they should have, Spectre will take advantage and ultimately make CDEC pay for it. So, just sapping some experiences. June is Y just trying to get some farm here with that nice CM Arcana. Level 2, not even close to level 3, but does have 1 in the Arcane Aura. Is now Sep. They might be looking for the Hoof Stomp out on Shadow, but still has to back off. They don't go for the Hoof Stomp. They don't go for the Double Edge. Sep pretty low, so going for the Double Edge might be a little bit risky, especially with Y nearby. There's the Spectral Dagger. Will push back Sep even more, but even still, no kills either way. So coming in with the Shikuchi is Flyby. There's the Splinter Blast. Faith Beyond's going to use that Aphotic Shield to try and get out. The Arctic Burn from Demons might be able to slow him down enough to get the kill for Flyby. He's running it with that Shikuchi. The Geminate attack, one more, will do it. And Flyby will get first blood. So CDEC, they get a quick first blood, and then down low, they'll lose June. So 1-1. So 1-1. 5 minutes in, we finally get ourselves first blood. And it is the Ricky that goes down. Sep at this point should be alright, as he is level 4 and does have those boots in. Probably looking for a Hooded Defiance and then a blink. Or maybe even the other way around. So Faith Beyond going to continue to push up top, and Flyby comes through with the Shikuchi, just trying to harass back Faith Beyond. They got the kill before, but now with Flyby very low, he could be in a little bit of trouble himself. The Shikuchi's going to last, and it'll show him under tower. And really, with an Aphotic Shield, Faith Beyond might be able to go for this kill, but now with the salve, they'll be alright. Meanwhile, over mid, it looks as though Blink's going to get very low. He'll fall to the Flame Guard of Inflame. That is quite the sentence, and there's nothing really Y can do about it. So they lose that Shadow Fiend, and it is a kill going for Inflame, which is, again, is good for CDEC, as they want to use this early and mid-game to do as much damage as they can to the side of Wings.
A golden thread.
So it's 2-1 for CDEC. We take a look over that Shadow. He's going just for a wand. Nothing too crazy for him just yet. Again, gonna need a lot of time to get this Spectre online. Take a look over mid at Blink, who might be the silver lining saving grace of this Wings team early on. And he's only going for treads. We switched over the net worth. We do see that the Weaver leads the way next with that Ember Spirit, and that's exactly what you want if you're CDEC. So down low, Spectre, Shadow, we catch just a glimpse at the end of that. And June, Sep, as well as this Winter Wyvern Demons, they combine for a kill on Spectre, so that'll push Wings even further back into getting this Spectre online. It's just gonna be a tough game overall. And meanwhile, there's the sentry placed by Wings. They're gonna push Flyby into the trees, where they really won't be able to chase him, as he does have that time lapse, so he is pretty safe. But they do end up getting that tier 1, so Wings, they're making do with what they've been given, the cards they've been dealt. And kind of cards they've been dealt to themselves, because they did pick this draft. But all that considered, they just have to hold out long enough for Shadow to kind of find a couple of items. And now coming over is June. There's the Spectral Dagger out on Sep with the Snowball. And actually the Stampede will keep him away a little bit longer. The Hoof Stomp comes out on Shadow. And now they might have found themselves a little bit of trouble. June going to be hit by that Frostbite, but Wings, they don't find anything to finish it off. So both teams, I don't know, Wings don't use too much to push back the side of CDEC. Coming in with the Remnant is Inflame. He'll fill up that bottle with the Invis Rune and head his way back towards mid. And CDEC again, June, Demons, and Sep. They might look for a kill here, but Arctic Burn on cooldown, so Shadow, he should be okay for a little bit longer. So, in terms of net worth, it's 600 in favor of Wings, all things considered, after what I said should be a pretty solid mid and early game for CDEC. We take a look over at Sep. He's going for that Hooded Defiance, and then there should be the Blink Dagger after that. And they don't need it too much early on, as they're going to have this Inflame. He's going to be able to go in with the Remnants, with the Searing Chains, and lock down when they want to be aggressive. But then once they get that Blink Dagger out on the Centaur, it'll be a little bit easier for them to initiate Blink, Hoof Stomp, as well as get that Double Edge out. Another missed kill on my part. My apologies, brain just not working as well as I'd like it to.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, crap, somebody said yawn in chat. And I am tired. So again, it's 4-1 CDEC. We're about 10 minutes in. They get the Snowball out on Sep. He gets very low, and with the rotation over from Blink, they're going to get the kill finally on Sep. But Inflame, he's looking to turn this around. He's looking for a kill of his own, but getting hit by that raise, maybe he thinks otherwise. There's the dust under that Sentry Ward, and will avoid it. Oh, with the Sleight of Fist. So Big move by that Ember Spirit. Sleight of Fist with the Searing Chains avoids the Requiem of Souls. And that possibly saves his life because he got hit by that first raise and he didn't think he was seen, but they had the Sentry Ward down and then the Requiem was coming out from Blink and he was able to avoid it, and that keeps him alive. That keeps Ember with the lead he's got, and CDEC looking more towards that early mid-game advantage.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So Demons and Sep down here still. This Hood of Defiance almost finished onto the Centaur. We take a look over up top at Faith Beyond. We haven't taken quite a close look at him as he's got Helm of the Dominator and has those phase boots. Over up top is June as well as Flyby. He's actually going to hit away at Faith Beyond and really start quite a bit of damage towards him. And now they're just trying to come in. June maybe looking for the smoke screen. They know it's going to be a hard kill, especially with the ulti available on Faith Beyond, so they can't really just commit to that. So they'll need more than just a Riki and a Weaver to get the kill. So Shadow, not much to his name right now with phase boots and a bracer. It's been a rough life for Shadow, sitting at 4,000 net worth. Nothing too great for this Spectre just yet, and that's really affecting the ability of Wings. They need to have this Spectre get some farm and just find something. But of course that will take some time, and it'll probably be about 20 minutes before we really see Spectre able to do something. So no one really being all too aggressive from either side. It is 4-2. They continue to just throw out the Spectral Dagger, and then that's it. Other than that, we haven't seen much from Wings or CDEC. But now, as I say that, Inflame trying to wrap around. Courier comes through, so they gotta know it's coming somewhere. He's got the Flame Guard up. Not gonna make the move too deep, though. He just backs off, and he knows June is there. So June could be his eyes and ears just to let Inflame know what they're going to be going in on. And that could be what he's doing right now. But he's got to be careful. There's a Sentry Ward nearby, and that's what he's under.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So here comes the TP out from Faith Beyond. They set up over mid and just kind of stop. It's like they kind of give away that they know he's there. And now with that, Inflame and this Riki will move down low, possibly trying to get themselves a kill on Spectre, but Spectre gets out and moves up top, maybe into an even worse position. So now, under tower, Flybys here, going to time-lapse out. But Shadow, I don't even know if time-lapse was the right move there. You had Shadow locked up, possibly getting yourself a kill. So down low, the rotations are here from Blink. They're trying to get the kill on Sep. They'll use that Stampede. We take a look over in the river. There's the Searing Chains out on Faith Beyond. There's the Snowball. He actually does hit on Inflame, but he's already on that high ground by the Shrine. You don't fight by Shrine. Teams, they sometimes seem to lack the knowledge of that, and they fight towards a Shrine and end up losing big time, but you know, they do hold themselves back on the side of Wings. And now they look towards taking this tier 1 down low. So Hoofstomp comes out. Meanwhile, over in the river, they're going to take out Shadow. Flyby gets a kill. I was looking over towards this tower thinking they get something else and just hitting away at that Riki. June is Blink. They'll get one in return, but Spectre dead again. And that is the bullet point of that fight. They lose Spectre. Although Wings gain gold out of it, it's not what they want. They're relying on this Spectre for quite a lot. So now coming in with the Remnant is Inflame. Gets the Searing Chains out on 2. There's the Requiem getting charged up, and Not going to be avoided that time around. The double raises come through, and meanwhile the time-lapse by Flyby going to be enough. They actually do end up getting in flame, and now Sep's going to be in a bit of trouble as Blink gets a double kill. June, he's in vision, and he's going to have to use that ult. So he gets out harm's way. A raise almost kills him, and he's got to be thinking, get me a TP scroll and get me the hell out of here. So a solid trade for Wings despite losing Shadow. I don't get to that fight recap. That's my bad. And for Wings, that puts them at a 2,000 net worth lead. So where CDEC need to be controlling this early mid game, it's looking better and better for Wings. They're the ones who are hoping to get to the late game and really just hoping to extend. But if they have a lead, it'll be that much easier, and that late game, quote, late game, will happen sooner. They really just need to start keeping Shadow alive. So, down low, Sep gonna just try and take this tier 1. It does get glyphed up. That should send Sep back, knowing that maybe something's up. And coming in is Y as well as Faith Beyond. They do get the root of the Frostbite. There is the Stampede, but he's going to get stopped by the Ice Shards for just a moment. Snowball's not going to be enough. It does close the distance between the two, but they're not going to be able to get anything out of it. The tier 1 goes down, and they do have the ability to just back off. So, dust comes through from Wings, gonna whiff that one. And Wings only down by a kill, but up about 2,500 net worth. It's interesting to see CDC just not take advantage of their early and mid-game abilities, and now they're actually coming in on Shadow. They look to be getting themselves a kill, should have it with the smoke screen out on June, and they have cornered him, and they get another kill on Shadow. So Shadow's died 3 times, and that is just, it's trouble written for Wings, but at the same time, right now it looks as though they might not even need Shadow. There's the Walrus Punch as well as the Snowball in Flame. He does have a Remnant to try and get away. There's the Aphotic Shield, another Remnant, and now Mist Coil getting him very low, trying to run him down with the Aphotic Shield, but it will break from the tower, and getting out of harm's way will be the Ember Spirit. So Sep's gonna fall, now chasing Ice, not Ice, almost said it. Is gonna be CDEC, but they end up losing June instead. Shadow getting himself a kill. So Shadow ends up finding finally one of his own. He's got that drums with the phase boots and going for the Radiance next, and not doing a poor job of getting to it. At 2,000 gold, only 1,800 away from that Sacred Relic. Shadow, despite dying 3 times, is looking okay. Almost said ice up there. Caught myself on the 3rd ice. So Sep, he's got that Hood of Defiance. Now he has the Blink Dagger, and this is where Centaur starts to become effective. They're tied 7 apiece, but now when you can get in there with the Blink, with the Hoof Stomp, it can set up so much more for this CDC lineup. You get a nice Blink, Hoof Stomp double edge, and you can have the Weaver, you can have the Ember Spirit, kind of start to clean up the rest of the kills. They've got a Diffusal Blade out on Flyby, and he's just about got himself that Desolator, sitting a little bit behind the Shadow Fiend in net worth, but now Wings, under the noses of CDC, they're going to go for this Roche, and it looks as though they're going to get it. So they get an easy Roche, they get the Aegis out on Blink, and Wings, despite their late game potential, have shown up early on in this game 1. So June moving forward, I don't think they know they have the Blink on the Centaur just yet. They'll pop the aphotic shield. Need to make sure they can get the kill on Faith Beyond before they go for it. And ice shards thrown towards the high ground. And there's the blink from Sep. But Sep's put himself in the trees.
Dire's middle tower
And he's stuck there for 6 more seconds. But he's still behind enemy lines on Wings. Coming through his flyby. And now if they could just get this blink, it's off in a second. They should be able to get a good hoof stomp, and they do onto the Crystal Maiden, but nobody dead just yet. There's the dust, as well as the ultimate flying through from Winter Wyvern. They end up getting 1, they'll get 2, and now they're going to get 3, and not really 3, but it's just the Aegis of Blink, but they look to set up even more. They look for the hoof stomp, but they're not going to find it. There's the dust on Blink, and now turning around is Sep. Sep getting gone on by the rest of Wings, and they'll find 1 in return. Now Flyby's going to have to use that time-lapse just to keep himself alive. Maybe Flyby, June, and Inflame can catch someone on the way out, and it looks as though that victim's going to be Faith Beyond. So he no longer has that ulti. Here comes the Searing Chains out on Blink, as well as the Sleight of Fist. He's going to come through with that Remnant on forward. Shadow in a little bit of trouble. They do lose Inflame, and next up they'll lose Flyby. Ice TP's in, gets in there with a nice snowball, and ends up killing 2 on the side of CDEC. So we take a look at the fight recap. 500 gold going the way of Wings. And they do out-survive CDEC. Well, these heroes, let's take a look at a couple of the talents they've been going for. As it's plus 6% on the Spell Amp, plus 15 movement speed for Blink on this Shadow Fiend. And we'll see if he does go for the Lifesteal next or the Souls. And I do assume maybe he'll go for the little boost in Souls, not the Lifesteal. Take a look over at the Spectre, also level 15, 20 damage, and 8 stats, and now picking up that Sacred Relic, so that much closer to a Radiance, and really looking at a chance of becoming effective. Take a look at the other side, CDEC, we take a look, it's just 35 damage for Sep, and then for Ember Spirit, he's picked himself up 10% Spell Amp, and 6 to all stats. And then finally, Weaver, the last core, 6 strength and 7 all stats. So not too bad. Not too shabby. So the Swarm comes out, but now dusted up is this Weaver. Here comes the Requiem right on top of him, as Blink will get the kill. Y survives with 88 health, just surviving long enough to get that Frostbite. And right on top is Blink with that Shadow Blade coming on through with the Requiem of Souls. Dragonlance, Shadow Blade, Yasha, pretty solid items for this Shadow Fiend. And they will get a kill on the Weaver, turn it around. Turn it around right in the face of Weaver, too. So June just slowing down Shadow a little bit, does spot him out. They're trying to get him before he gets that Radiance, but he's already bought the recipe, and here it is. And now the Radiance Burn is going to hurt them as they try to chase with that ulti from the Centaur, but now coming in, Spectre looking to get a kill, and Flame's got to turn around. There's the blink in with the hoof stomp, and there's the double edge. They'll end up finding the kill, but it takes quite a bit, and with Inflame low, it's going to get to that high ground. I'm surprised that no rotations come out from Wings. Meanwhile, they're pushing a tier 2 up top and heading towards a tier 3, but I feel like you want to save your Spectre there. Alright, Courier gets Walrus punched in the face. Here comes the snowball on a Sep. Not going to reach. And now there's the Winter's Curse. It might actually be Ice falling there. Splinter Blast gets him down to about half of the remaining health he had left. They're not going to be able to lock down anybody on the side of CDEC. Now dusted up. Is CDEC and Flame getting pretty low? Y will be not the next one to die. It's backing off his CDEC. Surprised they didn't go in even further. So nearby is Inflame and Demons while they watch their tier 2 get very low, and they now on the side of Wings, they lose their Courier. Y's gonna go down. Coming in with the Walrus Punch is Ice. June trying to get away with the Stampede. They're gonna try and chase him, and they do get that Miscoil to finish off the kill. So Faith Beyond finds a return kill. And with that, Wings, they should want to continue to push forward on this tier 2. Try to force the fight out of CDEC. And there's Flyby going to get hit by a nice raise, and Blink, he's very farmed right now. 4,000 in front of the Weaver, looking for what looks to be a Manta style of his own, but has to wait for that courier to come on back.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So, for the side of CDEC,
Radiant's top tower is under
they don't end up going Veil on this Ember Spirit. They're going to be looking to get him a Lincoln Sphere instead. I'm not too sure that's the right call. I do like Veil on the Ember Spirit, especially with that and Sep once he's got his Blink. I feel like it would be a solid combination going with these Remnants, and then on the back end having Weaver do his work. They do have a lot of damage if they can find the team fights, but other than the Winter's Curse, Winter Wyvern, he doesn't really add too much. Ricky, with what he's got going for a Diffusal Blade, nothing finished, doesn't really have too much. It seems to be really falling apart at the seams for CDEC, and they are struggling quite a bit to keep up with Wings. So there's the Spectre ult. Just going to be popped. I'm not finding anything with it. So Inflame just continuing to farm up, still looking for that Lincoln Sphere. He'll get away from Y, but again, I don't really like the Lincoln Sphere call on an Ember Spirit, especially first item. I do really like Veil instead. So Spectre, he's found this Radiance Shadow. Now looking for a Manta style, and it'll be that Manta Radiance push that Wings will be looking for. So coming over just to get some vision for CDEC. Maybe they can find a Blink with a Hoof Stomp. They've got Centaur down low. June just trying to get some information for CDEC. Try and take a fight, as it's something they've been lacking quite a bit in the last coming minutes or so. So June does have this vision out on Shadow, but they still do have the ward, so they know he's there anyway. Coming over is Demons and Sep. While over mid, Inflame's just going to Remnant back towards his jungle, and we see both teams being pretty much okay with just farming up. But while I say that, down low, Shadow might be in a little bit of trouble. Coming over is Inflames. They do get the kill. This time it's going to go for June over Shadow. And 408 gold going his way and 60 seconds on the sideline. So a big kill for CDEC. Stops the farm and helps the push down low.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So there are two here to try and take this tier 2 down. Well, Inflame working on going after Faith Beyond, but there's the Ice Shards, and now Inflame, he'll have to Remnant out too. Can't really commit to all too much. He's got a Lincoln Sphere, but that's about it. He really doesn't deal too much damage. So now coming over towards this Roche Pit is Wings once again. And I don't think CDEC really have much in terms of stopping this. They've gone and committed to this bottom tier 2. Coming over is June, who might step into this Roche Pit. He hasn't just yet. And now they are going to spot him and get an easy kill. So he finds himself way too close. Flies himself a little bit too close to the sun, and he gets burned, and he'll be taken out by Blink. So 13-13. We take the net worth. We take a look. It's 5,000 in favor of Wings. With the Aegis, they should feel comfortable to possibly start harassing this tier 3 and maybe force the issue out of CDEC. So there it is. Blink starts working at this tier 3, hitting it down very quickly. They're going to have to glyph it up. They're looking for something coming around the back. is Flyby. If they can find a nice Blink Hoof Stomp, and there it is, Blink Hoof Stomp, but the Frostbite comes out onto the Centaur. There is the Spectre with the ulti haunt, and now not finding anything just yet, just haunting around, jumping around from all of these nice illusions, but with all that said and done, nobody's found themselves a kill yet. Wings really biding their time and getting themselves a tier 3 mid. CDEC just can't find anything while trying to defend this high ground, and now that they've lost this tier 3, we could just see Wings go over to their shrines and take it out for more gold. Why not get the extra gold? Why not continue with the aggression? You've got the Aegis. You've got your Spectre starting to build some farm. 13, almost 14,000 net worth with the Manta style finished now, and Manta Radiant's pretty solid combination for Spectre. Then we take a look over at the MVP so far for Wings, and that's going to be Blink. He's got that Shadow Blade. He's finished off that Butterfly, and Manta Dragonlance of his own now with the Aegis. What CDEC side, he says. He doesn't really care to move on forward. So Flyby moving on in. Blink still invis, and there's the Spectral Dagger. Let's see if Flyby gets caught out. They get a couple of hits out on him, and he's really got to force himself back. Those 2 hits were strong from Blink. And that'll force Flyby all the way back out. So again, just trying to cut this creep wave, looking to get themselves a set of racks, maybe force a fight and force a win in their mind is Wings. And now coming in with the Searing Chains as well as the Sleight of Fist is in flames, but it doesn't stop anything. They go for the range racks. They will be able to get it. And Blink is just going to back off. With that, they'll take racks. They'll take one half of that racks mid and back on up. Blink in from In Flames. Maybe not the smartest move. Aegis reclaimed in just 2 minutes. There's the Ice Shards coming on out. Flyby, he's got to be very careful. Blink really does deal quite a bit of damage to him if he goes in too far. He's still got that Aegis, so you can't really blow your load on him. And there's the Sleight of Fist with the Searing Chains. Now he's silenced up by the smoke screen, and he might look to fall. And there it is from the Splinter Blast. So now there's the respawn with the Blink Hoof Stomp, but here comes the Haunt again, the Winter's Curse. That'll take out the Crystal Maiden, but you don't really need the Crystal Maiden with Spectre coming in. And now Wings are trying to make CDEC pay for their defense. Instead, it looks as though CDEC might make Wings pay for them trying to go in this deep. They do take out another in Ice. There's the Blink Hoof Stomp double edge, and if they lose Blink again, that could definitely cause them to be in a little bit of trouble, but he does use that Shadow Blade. They'll walk out. Shadow and Blink are trying to walk out. The Requiem, big, but not big enough on Inflame, who has that Flame Guard. But meanwhile, on the back end, Flyby, he's going to go down. He's dead for 70 seconds, does have that buyback. And now that you know Weaver's dead, you might want to try and force this out. You push on CDEC, and they will look to get themselves a kill on Sep, and they will do so. So now they're looking for more. June trying to get back. Inflame, he might be a little bit too far out. He remnants into the jungle, and Wings, they found their opportunity. They've already taken out a set of racks mid, and they'll look towards a tier 3, and Blink continuing to hit hard down low. So they take yet another tier 3, and we do see the lead now breaking over 10,000. With this, they'll back off towards the shrine. No Aegis on Blink anymore. So maybe they just wait it out, wait for the next Roshan, 3 more minutes, and while they wait, continue to farm up as much as they can. So 15-15, a big lead for Wings. Let me take a look over at Ice, going for that Lotus Orb, which will be pretty nice. Blink, He's top of the net worth at almost 23,000, followed up by Shadow, who's now picked up that Diffusal Blade. And it's just becoming scarier and scarier for CDEC. You know, they didn't end up going for the Veil on Inflame. They lacked the kind of burst damage they needed in the early mid-game. And he was forced to go for that Lincoln's, which, again, I'm going to say it, what, the 10th time tonight? Just don't like it. Let's see, CDC, they still always have a chance. Down 15,000 net worth. We've seen crazier things happen. But right now, Wings, they do hold a lot of control. They're coming over. Shadow trying to take out Inflame. There's the Spectral Dagger as well as the Manta Style. He'll have to Remnant out. Meanwhile, over on the edge, we do see a Blink with a Hoof Stomp and trying to get himself out that Requiem, and will, and now Flyby just gets the time lapse off, but even with it, he's gonna fall. So will Sep, so will June. 3 dead, no buyback, and there's a 4th no buyback. And CDC, they look to be aggressive, they look to push these bottom lanes, but Wings, they say no way. Take out 4. So they work through the back door. Blink by himself, going for the ranged racks. We'll get it. Now he heads on over to the melee. Nobody up on the side of CDC except for Ember, and nobody's going to come back up for the next 12 seconds, so that gives them the opportunity to take another set of racks. They head towards the tier 4s. It's going to be quick work from both Shadow and Blink. Inflame just trying to defend. He gets hit very hard by Blink. They'll take out the tier 4s. The Ancient is exposed. Inflame in a lot of trouble. There's the ulti from Y. It grants them the kill on Inflames. He's got no buyback. Sep gonna have to use that Stampede just to try and get out. Sep will fall. So will the Ancient. GG called by CDC. And taking game 1 will be Wings Gaming. Wings Gaming take this game 1 in a best of 3 over CDEC, so we'll be back in just a moment for game 2, 7 o'clock my time in the morning. And let's play you guys some music. I gotta see if there's an update on what I'm doing.